Hey, I'm Aja A, and welcome to Sunshine Haze. Don't forget to check out all the links that I have listed down in the description box, and if you like the video, please give me a little thumbs up. If you have any questions after the video is over, feel free to drop them down below. I try to respond to everyone. And if you all know people interested in astrology, numerology, tarot, or whatever I'm talking about on this channel, go on and send them this link. And don't forget to hit subscribe. And of course, thanks for tuning in and rocking with me. May this info help y'all live your best lives. Peace. Hey y'all, welcome back to SunshinehazeCo. I'm Aja A, and I am here with a video for the retrograde series. This is the one that everybody dreads. It is the Mercury retrograde video. Yes, it is that time. Again, happens like 3 times a year. This is the second time, so we're 2/3 of the way done almost. Okay. This is also one of the retrogrades to join the retrograde cluster because we are now in what I call retrograde season. I believe that Mercury retrograde is the 3rd retrograde to join the cluster. I think it's Pluto, Saturn, and then Mercury, or it might be Pluto, Mercury, Saturn. I'm not sure, but there's 3 popping off right now. Let's get right into it. What is a retrograde? A retrograde is not a planet moving backwards. It's actually an optical illusion. It's when a planet stops and passes over points that it's already passed over, and then it stops and stations direct and passes over them again. So if you want a visual, it's kind of like a Z motion. There's a planet, it's moving, and then it stops, it goes retrograde, moves back over those points, and then it stops, and then it stations direct, and it moves over those points again. Z motion there, okay? When we're talking about the energy in regards to retrogrades, we're looking at this time of reflecting and correcting. So stopping, taking a moment to look over the things that have transpired, looking at where we need to change some things, change our process, and then make those changes and see the things play out for us once the planet stations direct, okay? The good thing about Mercury retrograde is that it is short. It is going to be ending in June, so we don't have to deal with it for that long. So the craziness is not, sorry, my allergies have been bothering me today. The craziness is not, it's not here to stay, guys, I promise, okay? This time around, Mercury is at home in the sign of Gemini. Mercury is ruled by Gemini and Virgo, so it is at home in the sign of Gemini, the twins, and this planet governs our communication, intellect, our short-term travel, and also our friendships and companionships, okay? Relationships with those people that we're very close to, that we have friendship-like relationships with, okay? As I mentioned, it's ending in June, on June 22nd, but it is starting on Saturday, May 29th in 24 degrees, ends on June 22nd. I don't know what day that is, but it's ending in 16 degrees, okay? And I'll talk about the numerology a little bit later on in the video. This retrograde, this Mercury retrograde this time around is in the sign of Gemini. All of the retrogrades this year will be in air signs. So we had the first one in Aquarius, this one's in Gemini. The last one, which I believe will be in like October maybe, will be in the sign of Libra, okay? Gemini energy, intellectual, adaptable, perceptive. Geminis are fun, they're curious, they are also multitaskers. On the shadow side, they can be indecisive and impulsive. They can be detached, and they can also be a little flip-floppy and unreliable. So just keep in mind that we are dealing with a retrograde, so those energies could be popping up. Just be mindful of them, all right? Mercury is a personal planet, so we do feel the effects of this retrograde on a personal level. The effects of this retrograde will be hitting us in our faces. They're not like the social and outer planets like Pluto and Saturn, the videos that I also have up in the retrograde series right now. Those energies, they affect us over a course of time. Mercury retrograde energy is in our faces. It's right here, it's right now. So just chaos chaos might be a little prominent for us for the next month and a half. All right, a few points that I want to hit here in regards to the energy. Before I go into that, we did go into the Mercury retrograde shadow on the 8th of May, and so the effects kind of start around then. So you could, if you want to stop and look at kind of the crazy things that have gone down and see if they came by way of Mercury retrograde, you can do that. And although the retrograde ends on June 22nd, we'll be out of the shadow on July 13th. So just keep in mind that we're still dealing with shadow energy then, but things will be getting back to normal. They'll be easier to maneuver, okay? So just keep in mind anything that you're being held from, that you're being barred from right now, that's going kind of crazy for you right now, it will probably start to play out and be more successful once we move towards the end of June and go into the beginning of July, okay? The first point that I want to hit here with Mercury retrograde, I think, is the most important and the most obvious, and that's communication. We are dealing with Gemini energy, which is a sign that is all about communication, and we're dealing with Mercury, which is a planet of communication. And as y'all know, which is one of the reasons why y'all hate Mercury retrograde, is that Mercury retrograde does affect communication, okay? So expect some miscommunications. I'm just going to go on and say that now. Try to, before you speak, triple think, not double think, triple think about what is about to come out of your mouth and what could possibly come back to you by way of you saying it. And then also when people are speaking to you, especially if it sounds kind of left or kind of off, think about the fact that this energy might be jumbling their thoughts and their words, and it might not be coming out the way that they mean for it to come out. I'm not going to let this take me out of character, okay? We are in Mercury retrograde energy. Just keep that in mind. Going a little bit deeper into that communication point as far as this energy is concerned, we're also going to be reflecting on how we're interacting with people and how we're communicating our wants and our needs and our desires and our goals. So if you've been in a position to where there's something that you've been working towards or something that you need or that you want, and part of getting that is that you have to speak up or speak your mind, or that you have to make it clear this is how it needs to be done, you are going to be going over that over the course of the next month. You're going to be thinking about how you're telling people what it is that you need to get done. You're going to be thinking about what type of energy you're putting out, and if that's the energy that's needed to get the things that you have in mind for yourself. Reflecting and correcting. So thinking about the way that you're communicating and the way that you're interacting in regards to getting what it is that you want is going to be very important, and you should pay attention to it over the next month, okay? The next point that I have is in regards to our relationships, those companionships, or those friendships that I was talking about. Looking at how they're serving us and if they are serving us. This is retrograde period, so this is a time when friendships do end, when relationships do end. I don't necessarily say, oh, go based off of the retrogrades, don't get into a relationship, but let's keep it real. If you do get into a relationship during this retrograde, you are going to deal with relationship issues during progressed Mercury retrogrades. Probably the next one down the line in Libra, you might find that this is a very short-lived relationship. You might meet a new friend, a new dynamic friend during this retrograde, and then by the time the year is over, they may not necessarily be that important to you, or they may not be around as much as they were over this period. So just keep in mind, anything that you start during the retrograde, it doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't, but just know that if you do, it is possible that it may end by the time that the next retrograde comes around, or you may be dealing with issues in regards to it by the time that the next retrograde comes around, okay? Also with these relationships, as I was saying, looking at how they serve us. So looking at your friendships and looking at, do they need to be leveled up or do they need to be phased out? Reflecting and correcting, and looking at friendships that are valuable to you, companionships that are valuable to you. And if you have been putting in the energy that makes that companionship something that you are worthy of, or something that they are worthy of. So looking at our relationships with people, you may find that you completely switch your friend group around during this time. You may find that you kind of cut off communication with some people during this time as well. And don't ever look at that like a L. I always say that we grow up and we grow out of people. Phases, reasons, seasons, and lessons learned. Not everybody is meant to be a forever person in your life, and that's okay. People come around to teach you things and to help you grow and to show you things about yourself that need to be changed. So as these changes are occurring for you in your relationships, as far as your friendships go, just understand that Mercury retrograde is happening for a reason, and it is meant to happen for you, okay? Try not to go against the grain. Anytime you go against the change that is supposed to be coming in for you, that's when things start to hit the fan. And I will be real, Mercury retrograde is not the time to go against the grain. This is not the time to have things swirling around, and this is just not the time. So go with the flow. You know, Gemini is a very blowing in the breeze sign. Just go wherever the breeze blows you during the next month. You will end up where you need to be. I have a note here on perspective as well. In regards to just certain things, probably important foundational things in your lives, because that's the energy that we're really working with here outside of Mercury retrograde with all these other retrogrades happening. Looking at shifting our perspective with the way that we're moving in certain things, and that's all I have for that note. The next thing that I have is fun. I mentioned that Geminis are fun. We had a really crazy year. We're still in a pandemic, and I do mention this in my other videos. I know it looks like everything is going back to normal, but you guys, please stay safe out there. Wash them hands, cover your mouths when you cough. Stay home if you're sick, you know, to be normal and hygienic if you can, please and thank you. But you know, it was kind of heavy, it was kind of rough, it was kind of dense. So this retrograde period, we're going to be probably reflecting on how crazy last year was and looking at all the things that we want to do during this year, making all these plans that we want to come in for ourselves, and again, keeping my retrograde energy. So, you know, just be mindful. But looking at how we can bring some more fun into our lives, looking at how we can bring some more light into our lives, and then starting to incorporate that. So although we're dealing with chaotic energy as far as Mercury retrograde is concerned, there's also this light, this airiness, this fun that comes in by way of Gemini. So it's not all us out in the wilderness, us out in the wilds, wilding, wondering what's going on. We do get a little bit of a positive aspect here with this, what am I trying to say? With this transit happening. Why couldn't I find that word? The last note that I have here for this Mercury retrograde is in regards to our dwelling spaces. And although we're not dealing with foundational energy for Aquarius or for Mercury, where this point comes in is Gemini always having these ideas. So this is going with what your ideas are for living your best lives. You're going to be thinking about over this course of the next month, is where I'm at, literally is where I'm living, or is the city that I'm living in, is the complex, is the house, is the people that I'm living with, are the people that I'm living with, are these places beneficial to what it is that I'm trying to do? Are these places, is this space going to provide what I need to put me in position to embark along the path of the journey that I need to take to get me to the destination that I'm trying to get to? So don't be surprised if over the next month you start thinking about moving, because also Mercury governs travel, short-term travel. Don't be surprised if you start thinking about taking a trip. Be mindful about planning it and actually paying for it. I would just use this as a planning period, okay? And also, because we're talking about dwelling spaces, some of you guys might come into some issues with where you're living. You might deal with some rent problems. You might deal with some issues with your neighbors. You might have something happen, like some maintenance issues in your houses. But with Mercury retrograde, I will say that although it might be a little stressful over the course of June, things will start to come together and work itself out by the end of June, by the time that Mercury stations direct, and it'll probably all be figured out and squared away if it's not already taken care of by the time that we come out of the shadow period. So just so that you guys know, you might be a little stressed out in the month of June, but it's going to work itself out. And put that out into the universe, speak that into existence, especially if you do come into those problems. Speak that everything will be taken care of and that you'll be cool and that you won't have to worry about it. All right. On a collective level, we are going into this new normal. We're trying to have more fun. We're opening everything back up. But as I mentioned, we are still in a pandemic, with this being a retrograde. Mercury might come around and snatch our asses up. There might be a surge in COVID cases. There may be a shutdown scare. I don't know if they will really shut us down because they're so worried about the economy, but there may be a threat to shut everything down again, or they may have to shut everything down again, or some places in the world may actually shut things down again, and then you'll see things get better there. But you know, with this being retrograde season, Mercury might come around and be like, yeah, y'all thought it was hot girl summer too. It's not, but you know, hopefully that's not gonna happen, but it is retrograde season, so don't be surprised if it does, okay? Going into the numerology very quickly, this retrograde is starting in 24 degrees on a 3-day. So we're dealing with the energy of 6, breaking down 24 there, and the energy of the number 3. So we're looking at positive manifestation and creativity, and also building upon these foundations that we put in place for ourselves. So we are really reviewing our path to success and preparing to make the changes that will help us, you know, take the opportunities, catch that flight on that Gemini breeze to bring us to wherever it is that we need and where we want to be, okay? And really helping us shift our mentality into a space to where we are motivated and willing to do the work that will get us there. This retrograde is ending in 16 degrees on a 33-day, which is big energy, okay? we're breaking 16 down to 7, which is all about divinity, philosophy, truth, and harmony. All right. And then 33 is considered the master teacher. So this is all about completion here, and all about harnessing everything and all of the experiences and everything that you're learning. So a lot of knowledge coming in for us. Make sure that you apply it. Whatever you learn, make sure that you apply it to your process. I think it's important for you guys to remember that. The things that we reflect and correct on during this time are going to be very important for our journey. So whatever it is that you come up with over the course of the next month, as we come out of the Mercury retrograde, don't just charge it to the game. If you learned, okay, I work better if I have a planner, and when I wake up in the morning while I'm eating my breakfast, I sit down and I plan my whole day out. Once we come out of the retrograde, don't stop doing that. Keep doing that. Keep applying that, and make that your routine, and you'll see that you become successful in whatever it is that you're trying to do. Apply the things that you learn and make them regular, make them routine, because you're learning them during this time so that you can be more successful in what it is that you're trying to do. Okay. And I think that's all I got for you guys. As usual, as I mentioned, this is Mercury retrograde, so it's going to be a little chaotic, especially because we got Mercury at home in Gemini cutting a rug. So, just be prepared for miscommunications, travel issues. If you have plans to travel over this Mercury retrograde, make backup plans, get a rental. If you are flying, y'all, it is summer season. It's raining, it's thunderstorms. Your flight is going to get canceled. Have a backup plan, okay? Or just shift your trip if you can. Be mindful of how you're speaking to people and how you're interacting with people and the energy that you're putting out. And also be mindful of what people are sending to you. Try to protect your space, protect your energy. Don't be consumed by Mercury retrograde. It gets chaotic. It gets kind of crazy. It gets kind of wild. But try not to become consumed by the chaos. Use this energy to your advantage. Again, reflect and correct in regards to the things that Mercury governs and this Gemini energy. All right. What else do I got for you guys? If you want to know how this retrograde is going to affect you, take a look at your transits. Look at where Mercury is passing over your chart over the course of the retrograde. Like, for example, Mercury will be passing over my 4th and 5th houses. So I'm going to be looking at, my home and my dwelling space. So the shit that I mentioned earlier is probably going to be me. And also looking at fun, how I present myself to the world and my sex life, and those are 4th and 5th house things. So really reflecting and correcting there. If you want to know what Mercury is going to be bringing in for you, look at what houses Mercury is passing over in your chart and what aspects it has to these planets in these houses, if you have planets in those houses. What else do I got for you guys? The people that are going to be the most affected or the most transformed by this energy are people with Mercury retrograde in their natal charts, people with charts ruled by Mercury, so Gemini or Virgo, lots of Gemini or Virgo placements, lots of Mercury aspects or Gemini and Virgo aspects, and then for everybody, wherever you have 16 to 24 degrees or within the orb of those numbers placed in your chart, you will definitely see a transformation in regards to Mercury energy there with those energies, as far as those houses are concerned and those planets are concerned, if you have those placed there. Before I let y'all go, dropping my shameless plugs, it is retrograde season, so I did mention earlier I have a retrograde series playlist. You can check that out. It is linked down below. I also am having a retrograde reading sale because it is retrograde season, so you can book one with me if you are interested through my Etsy shop, again, linked down below. It is also eclipse season, so I have a link to that playlist down there as well. I will add the eclipse. I feel like a rubber band just popped in my head. That's funny. I didn't feel it, but I heard it. That's funny. That was random. I have an eclipse. I'll put up the eclipse videos as we have the lunations. I think there's only one or maybe 2 videos in there right now. Also having an eclipse reading sale. So if you want an eclipse reading, you can book one with me through my Etsy shop. Again, linked down below. Check out all the June videos, the tarot forecast, the pick a card reading, whatever else I upload during the month of June. I don't know what else I'm gonna put up, but check out them videos. Check out everything linked down below. And as I was talking about COVID and this coronavirus, this panoramic in this video, I am going to put up a 4th COVID, I think it's the 4th COVID reading. I wanted to put it up a little earlier, but I took a little break, a little vacation, because I needed a little break. It's important to take a breather when you need one, and I needed a breather, so I took one. But I'm back and I'm popping. And I'm going to put up that COVID video so we can get some insight into what's popping as far as this pandemic goes over the course of the summer, I think is what I'll cover. And I think those are all of the plugs that I have for you guys. If you are still here watching this video, go on and hit that little thumbs up, the like button down there for me. If you want to know more about these transits and moons and lunations, or you want to watch some free readings, go on and hit the subscribe button and keep up when I put up new content by hitting the bell. And if you have any questions or comments, you can drop them down below. And that's really all I got for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I will catch y'all next time. Peace.